guys, Ralph here. Hang on. And welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness here on magnificent Monday in Connecticut. Life is good, man. Life is good. Had a rough weekend, but life is good. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. How the 1SB came to fruition. It's an interesting story. Might take a while. So let me get right to it. I'll honk and we'll get to it. I rode my bike a lot, threw a lot of baseballs, practiced a lot. It is later in the afternoon by the time this gets up. So yeah, let's see if I'm toast. All right. Hellacious double C's. A little hide in third movement with a sticky second valve. I should put that in my book. When performing, make sure you oil your valves. Anyway, yeah, the 1SB. Man, it was a long and winding road to get to this, really. Let me say this. When I first met Jerry, I was studying with Vacchiano. Okay, and believe it or not, was playing a 5A. Now, Jerry's mouthpieces had not come out yet, and he was constantly talking about mouthpiece. You know, mouthpiece and instrument design were in his mind since birth. I mean, really. And he was constantly fooling around with mouthpiece and very aware of it. And it wasn't until a while, till boom, a light went on, and somebody suggested, why don't you make your own? But this hadn't happened yet. So I'm playing a 5A, and you can imagine. He says, Ralph, it's not going to work. Now, he wouldn't even play it. Okay? Just obtuse. And there happened to be, back then, especially in his studio on Broadway, it was always chock full of trumpet players. Always. I mean, Clark Terry was down the hall, so there were trumpet players coming and going all over the place. And it could have been anybody, Gerard Schwartz, Bob McCoy. I mean, forget it. Anyway, this time, there happened to be, don't remember his name. But anyway, a huge, huge mountain of a man from Czechoslovakia. Okay, that was playing double C's like you wouldn't believe. Blowing too hard. I mean, just overpowering the horn. But super strong. And he says, you know what? Let him play it. He couldn't get out of the staff. And he just went very, very thick, accented English. He goes, oh no. And Jerry goes, look at the size of him. He can't play it. What the heck makes you think you're going to play it? And that is the first time I ever didn't quite buy into what Vacchiano was doing. And over the years, this is my freshman year, but anyway, over the years, it just got worse and worse. And Jerry said, and I said, so what should I do? And he says, go right over to Giardinelli's right now and get a 10.5 C. And if they have a 12 C, get that one. Now again, this is just immediately from a guy that is listening to, this dark stuff all the time, and by students, right? So it's not even I'm listening to Mel Broyles yet, I hadn't, okay? So I did it. The 10.5 C was the only Bach mouthpiece that remotely worked for me. I could get myself up to an F without killing myself. And among the orchestral guys, that was considered great jobs. Okay? But the 5A, I couldn't play high C on a C trumpet. And my chops were mangled. Anyway, I have another story about that has to do with Vacchiano, and I'll do that tomorrow. Okay? Anyway, back to where we were. Now, it was a couple years later. Now, again, Jerry was always enamored with mouthpieces. But here we go. His first mouthpieces were a 1 and a 2. The 1 was the orchestral mouthpiece. The 2 was the screamer. And from there, it just, at least a couple hundred. Some made it to the market, some didn't. I played every single one. Some of them were not even, I mean, it was just a stock mouthpiece with a cup in it. I mean, just Neanderthal stuff for the longest time. But anyway, fast forward a couple years, several years, a lot of years. If I came to maybe 40 years, yeah, maybe 40 years. Now, he, again, yeah, it was about 40 years later that the 1SP came to fruition. And he was always trying for the perfect mouthpiece. Now, he always got, the newest thing was always the next best thing. And it was, for me, every single mouthpiece that I ever played from him was always it could be just minuscule amount, but was always better than the time before. It could just be maybe a little more range, or a little easier to play, or a little darker tone, whatever. Okay? So anyway, fast forward, and believe it or not, he finally thought he had it. It was a combination of the Charlie Shavers rim with the Harry James double cup. He finally got it. Okay? And he's working very, very closely with his manufacturer that, try this, try this, try this. Finally thought he had it. But what he finally had, believe it or not, was the 1SS. Okay? The 1SS. And he finally got the 1SS that he thought he was finally, 40 plus years, finally got it. 5 minutes later, he knew it was not right. He sent the exact mouthpiece off to me. He says, I'm sending you a mouthpiece, and you tell me what you think. He overnight expressed it, so I got it the next day. I was playing the 6 at the time and was very, very happy with it. Very happy with the 6, and I've been playing it for years. This is about the time I started the channel. So the first, don't go back and listen to the early ones, but I was playing the 6 at that time. I'm pretty sure it was the 6. Okay? And I played this, and I thought it was, in effect, a little better than the 6. But I agree with him, it was not the Holy Grail. Absolutely not. So, what does he do? It was almost a mistake. Almost a mistake. He had a friend / student who, older gentleman, who had never played a high C in his life that anybody wanted to listen to. Okay? And he says, Jerry, please get me. Just get me some. Please, I just want to play a high C. That's all I want. So he took the 1SS, had it pared down a little bit to a smaller cup, minuscule cup, finally got it back from the manufacturer. Jerry played it 2 minutes and knew that was the perfect mouthpiece. It was the 1SB. The 1SB. He sent it to me. He says, Ralph, this is it. I said, well, tell me about it. Well, it's the 20-day and this, that, and the other. I was like, my God, Jerry, it's minuscule. I'd like to play C trumpet. And God, Ralph, try it. I tried it. 5 minutes. I called him right back. Jerry, this is fantastic. Fantastic. And then 2 days later, I called him back and I said, Jerry, this is the holy freaking grail. It's the holy grail. The more I played it, the more I relaxed, and the richer the tone got in the middle register. That is what I was missing. Okay? Now, every guy in New York, anywhere in the world, that jumped between the commercial lead and classical, like what I was doing for the longest time, always had more than one mouthpiece in the case. Always. And I just thought that was a way of life. I really did. But all of a sudden, the richness in the middle register, and I'm playing the E flat trumpet for him on the phone. I'm playing the C trumpet for. I couldn't believe it. One mouthpiece for all things. And in the next month, we must have talked hundreds of times. I just gave it to this guy. He's got big lips and he plays orchestral and he loved it. And I just gave it to one of my kids. Let him play it. He's gonna, send you money. High school kid, just killing it. Marching band, loved it. And every single person, size, shape, degree of musical ability, gray matter, size of the lips, size of the teeth, kind of music they played, they all loved the 1SB. Now, after that, a couple of the guys were literally spooked by how small it was. And they asked Jerry to make him one with a bigger cup. So he made a bigger cup between the 1SB and the 1SS, and that is the 1SC. Guys, I know nobody that really likes the 1SC. All from what I can tell, is the guys that are overblowing feel a little better about it because it allows them to blow stronger. All right? The 1SB. And guys, I told you. I said, this is about a week after, I said, Jerry, I'm telling you the truth. Don't ever call me again with another mouthpiece. I don't want to hear it. I've tried hundreds of them and I'm tired. I'm too old for this. And he says, Ralph, don't worry. I'm through trying. And I heard this. I'm sure everybody that knows Jerry's going, yeah, right. Give him a month and we'll have something else. I couldn't believe it, but that was it. He stopped. Anyway, that's that. Eat and drink your fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. And eat and drink your fruits and vegetables and your starches. Starch, baby. Love you all.